Delvo,
Yes.
Schuler,
Yes.
Dorf,
Present.
Reardon.
No?
Not yet.
Okay, we have a quorum, and Bridget might be joining us a little later because she said she was going to join us. Anyway,
Okay.
And Debbie Dean said she's here too.
yes.
Yep. Yep.
There.
Okay.
Yep. Very good. Motion to approve the agenda, please.
Move to approve.
Alder Dorf.
Second.
Second by Matt. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, motion carried. Approval of minutes from July 13th and July 27th. I think everybody got those minutes. Motion to approve those minutes, please.
I'll make the motion to approve those two sets of minutes.
Matt,
Second.
second by Alder Dorf. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, minutes are approved. Regular business, number one, consideration with possible action on the initial resolutions relating to proposed issuance by the Redevelopment Authority of the City of Green Bay, Wisconsin, of its taxable lease revenue refunding bonds, Series 2021 KI Center Expansion Project. We're very familiar with this. We talked about it a couple meetings ago, whatever it was. But anyway, Neil, bring us up to speed.
Yep. Lisa, this is, I think, with the July 13th meeting, we introduced the topic, as Diane had briefly mentioned a moment ago. This is just bringing the actual formal resolution back forward for approval by the RDA, and staff is recommending approval as attached.
And I think we mentioned this last time. I think everybody kind of agrees the interest rates are not going down lower. Maybe they will. I doubt it. I think they're going to go up. So whatever we can do to expedite this process to get them issued as quickly as possible is definitely going to do.
Yep. And I think just so everyone knows, Chairman Delvo did raise that question with him when he sent the agenda out. And actually, we have already had a preliminary conversation with our bond counsel on accelerating that schedule for the exact same concern, Mr. Chair. So we're already moving on trying to present it. So possibly up to even a month earlier.
Fantastic. Questions or comments, please?
I've heard so much about this that I am so ready to move to approve this.
All right.
So I would like to move to approve it.
Thank you, Alder. Is there a second? Oh, I think Debbie had her hand up. Debbie, I'm making a second. Oh, you're still on mute, Deb. Still on mute.
Can't hear.
I can read your lips, though.
No, Deb, you might have to go out and come back in again.
So I thought I heard her just for a second there, but.
Okay.
Okay, she'll try that.
Waiting.
Okay. In the meantime, maybe Matt, so we can get a real voice. Matt,
Yeah, I would second that motion as well, so we can move this forward.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to move forward with the bond resolution. All those, any other questions or comments? I'm sorry. If not, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Deb.
Just a point of order, Mr. Chair. If
Yes.
we need to make sure we got Debbie's vote, because I think we have just four of us. I think we need to make sure she's on record as voting.
So,
Like this or like this?
But she's given us a thumbs up. She's given us a thumbs up, so I think I would let the record show that Debbie has said yes.
all right, very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie.
What can we do to help Debbie get unmuted? Can anybody help her with that?
Let's see. I don't know why doesn't have any audio for some reason. I can't see it on our end.
She may need to hit the mute on her computer and unmute herself, because that usually works.
She's trying?
I would just have her exit and enter back in, join again, because when it came up with the option, because it usually prompts you to use computer audio or not, and she may have clicked not to use computer audio, which is why her voice isn't coming through. So maybe just try exiting and entering back in.
I think she just stepped out. She's going to try to come back in here. So
Okay.
Oh, and there's Bridget. So now we got a quorum again.
Hi, Bridget.
Okay.
But
Excellent.
there she is. But she's muted too, so.
Okay, how do you unmute?
Sorry I'm late.
No, there we go.
You're fine. You're
I can
fine.
hear her. Okay,
You're
good.
in.
We had just enough for a quorum, Bridget, so we approved the first item on the agenda, which is the initial resolution relating to the proposed issuance of the redevelopment of City of Green Bay bonds. So that's been approved. We are now into item number 2.
Is that-
Consideration of possible action on approving an allocation of CDBG-CB2 funds in the amount of $253,062.34 from the state of Wisconsin. Neil, have you got this, Ann?
We can turn it over to Mr. Peters here. We'll provide this report for us.
Great.
Olivia, thank you. Yes, so the state has set aside CARES funds for the city of Green Bay of $253,000. These funds, though, need to be used for activities approved within our first allocation from the CARES funds, which was homelessness prevention, essential frontline needs, and then also the community development revolving loan program, the grant program. So really what we had to do is take a look at how our spending has been with our first allocation. And since there is so much money out there currently yet floating around, especially with the rent and mortgage assistance, we really were cautious in how we are using these funds. So through members of the school district, the public and service providers, and also Mike Ronick, our IT director, we really have learned about the disparity in access to internet and Wi-Fi amongst both students and then including adults as well, with having to just shift from working in person to working at home. So what we are proposing to do is to, now this is a broadband problem in Brown County and Green Bay, but we're looking at this to help make an impact. So we're looking at allocating these funds to create hotspots, to run broadband out to 4 city parks. So we're looking at Seymour Park, Navarino Park, Eastman Park, and St. John Park. And that way, this will just be another location that the public, whether it be students or adults wanting to fill out job applications, they have another place to access Wi-Fi within our community.
I would add to that, Mr. Chair, that obviously then also those frontline workers who are providing programs in some of those areas actually will also be able to take advantage and utilize that internet service. So
Very good.
Thank you, Neil.
Debbie,
Just a question.
Alder Dorf.
Elder, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just want you, can you sit, if they wanted to sit in their car and work on something, could they do that? That could work.
I'm gonna defer that question to our IT director. I know that the radius should be the whole park, but I just want to confirm with Mike.
Mike?
is Mike on here?
Yes, Mike. Oh, he's unmuted.
He's talking, you guys.
Good afternoon.
Good. How you, Mike?
Good. The Wi-Fi access would only be around the pavilion in each, or park shelter in each building, in each site. I don't believe it'd stretch across the whole park, depending on the size of the park.
So does that mean like this is just for summer or it's for winter too?
We could keep it lit up during the winter. Also, if they happen to have a skating park or something like that, they'd be able to use it inside the shelter.
Okay. Deb? Oh, you're still, shoot. Oh, shoot.
Maybe Debbie, can you type your question into the chat section?
Oh, yeah, good idea.
Or it's for all the time, the hotspots?
I don't think the shelters open in the winter.
It depends if there's a skating rink there or not. But Wi-Fi could be accessed, on a warm summer or warm winter day. If somebody, we would keep it going all winter.
Just a question, Mike. Are you restricting the access to the pavilions based on cost or?
Definitely on cost, because we couldn't pay for fiber across the extent of the whole park. In many locations. Well, and
But you could put more Wi-Fi access points, right?
Yeah. Well, what we're proposing here for all 5 of these locations, I currently don't have enough money to reach all those.
Gotcha.
I believe you know the cost of how much this
Oh,
costs.
yeah, right, reasonably no.
Wi-Fi is a drop in the bucket, though.
Alder
Well,
Dorf,
no, this is extending fiber to each one of these locations. That's where the majority of the cost is. Just an access point is nothing. We have to get fiber to these park facilities to provide Wi-Fi access. And that's where the cost of this project is mostly.
And so
Mostly.
you're building fiber.
We are building fiber, we are sharing fiber with Brown County, and then we have existing conduits that we'll use. So I think in the agenda packet, you're gonna find a map that is kind of gonna show that instance by the different color locations of the fiber runs.
So Debbie's question is, Navarino doesn't have a shelter.
We were gonna put up a pole there and around the, I guess the playground area, and put up a Wi-Fi access point outside. So we'd have a NEMA constructed box and pole, and we would provide Wi-Fi access like that at that location.
Alder Dorf, please.
I'm sorry, my computer froze, as you probably could tell, but I missed the answer to my question. So is this meant to be a year-round thing?
The Wi-Fi access points work to a certain degree up to like 20 below.
Oh, okay, but I'm just trying to think how people are going to be able to use it. They just would have to walk to the shelter.
Yep.
and get their computer out and use it.
It would be like a normal, like a restaurant or a coffee place. They do that.
Except is it heated and warm and can they go inside?
Yes, I understand.
I'm curious. I know this is a nice idea. I'm not saying it's not a nice idea. Is it going to be an effective idea?
And I guess part of it too, if I may speak, is that we were hearing stories of instances where families were driving to the parking lot of the Brown County Library, when the library was closed during the pandemic, just because there was no other place that they could access Wi-Fi. So like I said initially, this isn't the answer, the silver bullet to solve our access to broadband citywide. But we're just looking at it to help, to have those extra few spots to increase the access for families and individuals who may not have reliable access at home.
So let me make sure I understand. So it's going to cost us $200 to bring this to 4 shelters. Is that correct? I mean, it seems like a lot of money, but maybe
it is a lot of money because there is fiber in the ground to get to these park shelters.
Okay.
To provide it.
What do you think of that? $253,000 to get there.
I think he's probably right. I don't know if you've talked to anybody from our company, but we would probably be willing to share costs on something like that or share fiber. It seems over-engineered. Wi-Fi to parks that, to Barb's point, I mean, you're not going to bring a computer out when you've got gloves on, in my mind, this is what I do all the time, and I'm thinking about what is the most efficient way to partner to get Wi-Fi to the best spots or like internet. I think we could probably help with saving costs, but I don't know if you've talked to anybody from Cellcom or Insight, Mike.
No, we have not. TDS has approached us.
Yeah,
but we're more than willing to partner with Cellcom or Insight.
Okay, I'll take a look at those spots. We have a lot of fiber in the ground. We have a lot of, we can turn those into 5G, all that kind of stuff. There's more than one outcome we can have if we work together. I guess that's what and it sounds like you're working with TDS, but No. I'm totally agnostic who we go with. Yeah.
I'm just giving you all the information.
Well, we should talk. I've got big ideas and I think I could help.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's great. And I would appreciate that. We have larger ideas too, where we want to go in other locations.
Awesome.
So,
And Director Ron, just for a question, I think to Alder Dorf's point, if there was an ability to add a Wi-Fi connection close enough to the public parking area where someone could sit next, that was something we could scale up for if funds were available?
Yes, generally. And generally, these parks that I'm talking about, except Navarino, the parking lot is generally right next to the building.
Okay.
So if you look
Yeah,
at
I
an
think
airport,
if you get fiber to the building, you can probably put another access point on a light pole or something. Yeah.
yeah, close. Mhm.
Excellent.
I'm willing to share our engineering notes with you.
I call myself an honorary engineer at our company, and
Yep.
engineers don't love that, but it's true.
No,
Very good.
I'm looking to get to most city parks the cheapest way.
Okay.
You know, we're willing to do multiple things here, and part of it is crime prevention, and part of it is giving access to as many people as possible.
Like, for example, we're to Light Park already, if that's a place you're looking at for security. I mean, we are there with cell sites, with fiber, with everything. So, I don't know how these were chosen, but maybe if we put our heads together, we can look at some.
Great. Aldorf.
I just want to say, if Mike Haranek and Will Peters think this is a good idea, then I'm going to trust them. And then I'm going to vote yes on this because they know what they're doing.
I just want to say, we don't have enough money from your grant, and I really appreciate it, to get to all 4 locations. That way it'd be nice to partner with somebody like Insight.
Excellent.
Yeah, and especially if we're already in Light Park, that's a very big goal, going down Broadway, going down Washington, our city deck,
Yes.
Fox River Trail, all that. We want to get all that done and lit up.
There's so many people there, and yeah. Okay. This is like my real job. What's happening?
Very good. Good to have you aboard. You're going to help us. All right. Questions or comments, or otherwise I'll entertain a motion.
Oh, Debbie, I'm sorry. I think Debbie had another question.
Oh, please. I'm sorry,
Debbie asked about maybe Whitney as opposed to Navarino. I think that's something that could be looked into. I don't know how flexible we can be after this vote, with parks. I don't necessarily, if members here think that there are parks that are more suitable or have a better opportunity for ease of access from the general public, I think we should consider those. I also, in conversations with, Diana Delbecchi from Green Bay Area Public Schools, who has also been doing a lot of work and advocacy on this front as well, have also, identified some parks in areas such as, I think over the park that's off there off the top of my head, but I'm sorry, it's escaping me right now. Eisenhower Park, that area has been a really tough spot for their students that live because of the lack of cell towers out there. So I mean, we don't necessarily, I guess, have to be tied to these specifically, but since these are our block grant dollars, we just have to be cognizant of the geography and staying within the low to moderate income neighborhoods that are designated such by HUD.
Matt, I'm looking for the perfect
Let's see, Gary, if I can try to word something correctly. Fully supportive of the concept, and I definitely want to take advantage of the offer that Bridget has made, right, to try to, hey, is there some way we can continue forward, with this expanding Wi-Fi access, but seeing if there's a way that we can leverage the dollars and make them go further. So I guess the motion I would make is, hey, completely open to the idea of allocating the CDBG-CV2 funds in the amount of $253,062 from the state of Wisconsin to provide public broadband and wireless access to low-income, moderate-income persons at neighborhood parks to be designated at a later date by review with staff and consulting with Bridget as well.
I knew you had the perfect motion.
Second.
I saw heads shaking yes, so I think maybe I have it.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Great. Thanks, Matt.
So for Matt, for clarification, then that is a call that staff can make. That does not need to come back to the RDA. Let me clarify then, Cheryl, that there is a belief from staff that in whatever is brought forward is as good as what's presented here,
in the packet today or better, right? There's a judgment that we can reach more people that are low to moderate income with the designated plan.
Okay.
Lisa, you got all that? I'm sure she will. Okay, very good. So there's a motion and a second with some clarification from Cheryl. Any other questions or comments? If not, all those in favor, sing by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Excellent job, guys.
Thank you.
Great opportunity. Item number 3. Let me get it here. Consideration of possible action on awarding CD 21-02 Seymour Park pedestrian crossing and alley resurfacing to the low qualified bidder not to exceed, wow, $148,000. Yeah, tell us a little more about this project.
Right. So this is me again. We have been working with, by we as in our department has been working with the Department of Public Works on allocating block grant funds to infrastructure projects. Specifically, this one in question here is improving the pedestrian crossing on Ashland Avenue to get from the east side of Seymour Park to the west side of Seymour Park. That's 4 lanes of traffic that pedestrians have to cross. There is currently a striped crosswalk there now with signage that is solar powered and flashes, but we're looking to increase this to improve this to signage similar to what's in front of the hospitals on by St. Vincent Hospital in Belleville, those very high intensity beacon systems. There's a special name for it. I'm butchering it. But anyways, that's what we're looking to replace those with. It's been identified in our shipyard investment strategy. It's been an identified need from the public and the neighbors there. But we are up against the clock, as I'm sure you're all aware, with block grant funds, and we need to make sure we're meeting our timeliness. And we're just a little nervous that by the time we get the bid back and having to get this in front of RDA again, we're going to be cutting it very close to meeting that timeliness. So just to expedite this process, we would like to have staff approval to bid this out to the lowest qualified bidder, not to exceed the $148,000. I believe somebody from DPW was supposed to be on this call, but I'm not seeing Matt's anywhere to provide more details if you're looking for more details. But that's the general overview of the project itself and the reason as to why we're making this request.
Very good. Oldendorf, please.
That makes a lot of sense to me. And I'd move to approve. I mean, there can be other discussion, but that makes total sense to me. So I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, a motion by Oldendorf and second by Bridget. Any questions or comments into the approval of this request? If not, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, sing by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Thanks, Will.
Thank you.
Excellent job, like always. All right, we're moving right along here. We are into informational. Update on housing studies. Cheryl, what's happening?
No, I don't have a lot to report this month. I can tell you that the 2 projects that the RDA approved last month that were submitted by NewCap for the 2 shelter buildings were approved at Plan Commission last night. So their next and final step will be at council next Tuesday. And there really wasn't, I don't think I saw any opposition to those projects. There were a few suggestions on lighting and maybe some exterior landscaping types of situations, but so those are moving forward, which is good. And then we just continue to support new housing development. That's what we're working on. So short and sweet.
Very good. The next thing, financial report and check register. I reviewed it. I don't have any questions. I don't know if anybody else had some. If not, we'll go to the director's report and project update. Neil.
Absolutely. Just a quick rundown since we have a little bit extra time and update projects. I spoke with Chairman Delvo on this, and he was concerned with the lack of visible progress on a couple of projects, but I can assure everyone that there's plenty of activity going on behind the scenes on most of these projects. I'll start with the merge and shipyard. We're actually meeting, staff is meeting weekly with our consultant as well as with some of the developers team as well on all sorts of things. two areas of focus right now are reviewing fire department access to their site plan, trying to figure out exactly how we would provide fire truck access on their site plan as proposed, and actually kind of dealing with lots of different funding opportunities right now on not only kind of funding the upfront phase 1 improvements, but also the phase 2 and phase 3 improvements for the rest of the shipyard. So we're looking at everything from EDA funding to state grants to DNR grants to on a whole host of different funding programs that is keeping Matt Buchanan on my staff very busy in terms of trying to figure out exactly what the best leveraging package would be for making most of those improvements. So everything is on schedule according at this point. And like I said, that the conversations are occurring weekly with our team on that project.
Good.
Second one I want to give a brief update on is 200 North Monroe. That project obviously has been approved by council. We're kind of working on getting the agreement finally executed. Next big phase project for that will be to bring forward a new TIF district, which obviously that will need to come through RDA when we do that. So we'll be expecting a new project plan for the TIF district for that particular area here coming up here within the next, hopefully the next meeting or two for that particular project. 3 coal piles was the one I think, Mr. Chairman, you specifically asked on. Lots of work on trying to get kind of all of the, I guess, all of the squirrels to run the same way, shall we say, on the wheel right now. So obviously the first domino that needs to go in order for us to proceed with anything on the coal pile site is the acquisition of the Pulliam site. Right now, I think they have an agreement to do that, but that property, they have not closed on that property as of yet. So county is still not the owner, but that hopefully that's going to happen in the very short future, we believe. Once that happens, there's going to be a need for some specific improvements to that particular site before that port facility is ready to actually be taking on the coal for Sea Rice and getting them moved up into that particular site. So there are lots of infrastructure work and cleanup and other things that still need to occur on that Pulliam site in order to make that happen. And one thing I want to make sure that folks are clear on is most likely this is not going to be a relocation of coal from the current site to that new site. What they're probably going to do is they're going to spend down that coal supply on the current location once the new site is available, and anything new will come into that new site.
Great.
So it won't be a situation where you have coal there one day and the next day it's suddenly all been moved to the other location. It's going to take some time to spend those two things down. But again, we've been having multiple conversations with our state legislators and several federal programs in terms of trying to identify financing for actually proceeding and moving that project forward. There's been a lot of effort that's been going into that. We had a conversation here just this morning with the association or administration, actually at the EDA at the federal level, had a 45-minute conversation with them on funding programs here this morning. So there is a lot of work going on behind the scenes. And I said that certainly, I think, Gary, you may have noted that they're actually still delivering coal to the current.
This morning,
yeah, it's still in active use. They're still in place and using that. So,
a quick question, a couple quick questions. What, number one, who the heck is still using coal? Number one, and secondly, the county board has approved the purchase, right? I mean, so it's a matter of making it happen.
That is correct. Yes, that is correct. They the actual closing itself has not yet occurred. I think it's scheduled this year, but it has not actually been transacted at this point. Most of the coal customers, my understanding is, Mr. Chairman, is that they are not local. They are not really Wisconsin-based companies. That is being delivered to the port facility and then being transported probably out of state west.
Wow.
Many instances. So obviously, I think the likelihood of new coal customers coming on is pretty much slim to none. I think we're going to continue to see, less and less demand for that fuel source here over the next several years. Maybe I'm guessing 5-10 years at the most, maybe to see, maybe use is still wanting to have that demand for that fuel. I think there's just going to be increasing not only the lack of interest in using that particular fuel. There's more efficient options going forward. So, it is. I'm sure there's only a very few select industries that are still using a growing number.
Okay. Yeah. Ironically, I drove by today and another ship was unloading coal. Made me think about it again. But anyway, thanks for the update.
Nope, certainly.
And obviously, you're working hard on it.
Yep, one Esther, just a quick update on that. Some folks are, I think we said before, the Fox River Trail extension has been installed and has been put on through that site. We're working with Dean Miller, the developer there, probably to do some more shoreline protection improvements. Now that the trail had been put in so close to the river, we probably need to do some riprap and some other things there. So we're working through updating the development agreement with him. That's hopefully going to be the next agreement that comes back to the RDA for review and discussion. Will be an update to that. Hopefully that's in the next 30 to 60 days. We should have that back with some updates for this body's review. I want to take a look at Impact 7. Folks, remember this is on the Badger Sheet Metal site. They have a planning option we gave them a 3-month planning option and said if they showed sufficient extension, that extension, essentially they have everything, and that is we are actually at the 3-month period already. So that will be coming back in September. They have long and have advanced considerably on their site design, and so staff will likely be recommending approval of the extension probably to March 1st of next year. So look for that on our next meeting agenda. But we've been communication and progress that they have shown to date.
Really, Art, anything good there?
Yes, sir. TWG, staff is actually in process. Our planning department staff is working with them. They're financing their pursue WIDA tax credits. It's kind of what they're looking for right now. We all know that's a very competitive project, competitive program. Debbie knows better than anybody in terms of how, those types of projects. So we don't know exactly. That won't be known until later this year. Or early next year, whether or not that has come through. Okay. But probably the first and foremost thing we're dealing with still is they're attempting to change the kind of the makeup of the interior of the building. Some of the commercial, more first floor activation uses, they are looking to try to make that more residential in nature, which I think would help them with their WEDIP program, but would not be consistent with the city's plan. And I think what the RDA had previously approved for that site. So more likely there's going to be a revision being brought forward by the developer for the RDA and probably Plan Commission's review. At this point, staff has been kind of trying to hold firm on wanting to see that activated first floor and see some commercial uses in that area. But at this point, like I said, the developer has not seemed to be really able to accommodate that in their plans and working with their overall strategy. So we may have some work for the RDA to do on this one when it comes back, which again will hopefully be to 60 days.
Okay.
So I think that one, and then I think the only other one I want to touch base on, I think, is the JBS property. We are working towards developing an RFP for that one. Mr. Peters has been coordinating, especially with the mayor's office, in terms of doing some outreach in that neighborhood, trying to get an outline on exactly what sort of things might be included in that overall project. That feedback will be used to kind of finalize that RFP and get that issued here, again, hopefully in the next 30 to 60 days. Wow. So we are, some neat ideas have come forward on that so far. But we'll see exactly what the development community is willing to hopefully take on and bring forward for us here very, very soon. So, wow. So with that, really available for any other questions on any other projects folks might have.
You and your group have been very, very busy. Keep up the great work.
It's a good team, Chair. It's a good team. So,
questions or comments for Neil or his group or anybody on staff? Is the mayor aboard yet? I'm not sure he is. Any questions for him, anybody?
Mayor is actually out. Mayor's actually on vacation this week, Mr. Chair. Okay. So I'm sure he said no.
Questions or comments for Neil or anybody else on staff? Cheryl, anybody? If not, our next meeting is September 14th at 1:30.
Correct.
I guess I'll entertain a motion to adjourn unless anybody else got something else they want to run by the group.
Move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn. Order.
Second.
And second by Matt. All those in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Another great meeting. Keep up the great work.